Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenn Vo. I am super excited to have a special guest on our podcast. So before we get into our next episode, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Energize Dental Marketing. Energize Dental Marketing offers a lot of marketing services from smart sites, social media marketing, advanced SEO, brand management, community management, consulting, and Google Ads. So if you're looking to level up your practice with marketing, reach out to the guys over at Energize Dental Marketing and ask for the Nifty Thrifty Deal. But before I introduce him, let me ask you guys something. What if there was a company out there, a marketing company out there that only help you develop really smart websites? What if they also did your Google Ads? What if they also gave you some consulting, right? What if they also, if you have a community, they can help you with the community? And what if I told you those guys are pretty cool guys as well? If you are interested in meeting the people behind that, I got one of them today. And it's Ryan with the Energize Group. Ryan, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? So happy to be here. And Glenn, it's great to chat with you and also just your community.
Yeah.
So appreciate being on today.
Well, I've been wanting to get you guys on, you specifically, because, hey, this is coming from your own partner, right? We all know Matt Brown. He's pretty active in the community, but he says, you know what? The real smart guy is Ryan. I was like, okay, well, no offense, Matt. I mean, we're boys and everything, but can I get the smart guy on my podcast? So we got the smart guy here. But before we go any further, Ryan, let me just share with us the genesis or the how everything started with you and Matt coming together and deciding to work with crazy people like us dentists.
Well, I tell you, Matt Brown and I, we work great together. We have just a phenomenal time doing it, and we have different personalities too.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the shout out he gave me. It's been an incredible journey. Most of you guys are going to know Matt Brown far more than me. He's just that loud, rambunctious personality, but incredibly talented. So I'll tell you how Energize came about. This is actually the fourth company I started.
Okay.
I love entrepreneurship. I have a passion for it. Matt Brown has a passion for it as well. And I went and took a jiu-jitsu class at one of his gyms. This was almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where like the partnership starts to generate. And Matt Brown, he's a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm a white belt. I don't know anything. I'm there just to get a great workout in and get choked out a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was really the start of our friendship. It had nothing to do with business, nothing to do with dental. And from there, I started training at his gym. Okay. And over that process, him and I became better and better friends. And eventually he came to me and said, hey, I would love for you to partner with me on this Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym that, I really had nothing to do with. And that was the start of our business relationship. Yeah. And man, we took that little gym. It was small. It was like, I don't know, a 10 by 20, 10 by 30 room. And then we actually grew it over the next 2 years to one of the largest in all of North Carolina.
Wow.
And that was really, I know this doesn't have to do with dental yet or Energize, but when we talk about the genesis, it really started with the friendship and like-mindedness between Matt and myself that we just liked entrepreneurship. We loved building teams, processes, and most importantly, we had a passion to build something phenomenal. And at that moment, it was, training jiu-jitsu. And that's where we gained that. And then COVID hit. And the state of North Carolina shut all of our gyms down and said, you're out of business.
Yeah.
And, at that time, I still had a career in finance. So it wasn't that big of a deal to me. Um, and then, to kind of piggyback and brag about Matt, Matt was out with his uncle. He was out on a lake in Virginia, and his uncle is a dentist. And his uncle was telling Matt how much he was spending every month on terrible websites, terrible marketing. And he's just listening to his uncle complain about how, as you guys know, there's, the dental tax where everything is just skyrocketed price wise just because it's for a dentist. And so, Matt contacted me. He says, "Hey, listen, I know we don't know anything about dental. And to be fair, at the time, we didn't know anything about marketing either." So, that's not our background per se. And he says, "I think we have an opportunity here." So Matt and I, we're sitting at his kitchen table. We both love entrepreneurship. We both love building things. And honestly, the thought came to us, Glenn, that if people are going to charge that much money for a really crappy service, Matt and I can go do it better. We can do it cheaper, and we can provide a consistent, better service. And that is really the genesis of how we went down this path to really go after Energize. It was that, how do I save the doctor money? But more importantly than that, how do I actually consistently put people in their chairs, which is really the job of a marketer, right? I mean, we can get into a lot of things, but at the heart and soul of it, that's really what it is. How do we put people in your chair? So that was the genesis of it. And it's evolved into what it is today, which is pretty special. I mean, it's amazing what this has transformed into.
Well, I'm gonna ask you this, and it actually makes sense with how the company got started. Obviously, it got started because of relationships. And what I noticed that makes you guys really different from everyone else is that you guys generally have good relations, and you guys are generally friends with your clients. Like you actually like at shows and stuff. I've seen you and Matt together, and you guys run into clients, and I see Matt how he is. Like you guys genuinely like your clients. You like to like hang out and talk to them and get to know them. Is that kind of like go back to just kind of like how you guys came together and created the company? Is that where that philosophy comes from?
I think it does. Matt is such a social guy. As you get to know Matt, he has incredible hobbies. He has the skill and the ability to talk to anybody. And he's just a very genuine person. And, and him and I, we have that same philosophy of like, if we're going to go build something and we're going to spend as much time as we do with this client, like we want that to be a fruitful relationship for both sides and just make it very genuine. I could tell you this, I can't speak for any other marketing company, obviously, but Matt and myself as the owners of this company, we care incredibly deeply about the actual results and the effectiveness for our clients. And, it's like anything, some people are crushing it. Some people are mediocre. Some people are struggling. But we're going to give everything we have into that relationship just because that's who we are as people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the perfect segue into some couple of case studies that I want you to share with just off the top of your head, and again, I just let everyone know. I didn't ask Ryan to prepare anything. I just told him, just jump on the podcast. That's literally how I do my podcast. So I'm asking him literally, like he doesn't have anything prepared. I'm asking you, Ryan, off the top of your head, talk about some situations where maybe give me one where like everything just shot out like a rocket, right? Like, man, crushing it right away. Everything that you guys did was like gold. And share another one where it was a grind, but you got there through just pure grit and just the doctor really buying into what you guys are doing. So share with me those two type of stories because I feel like most of the members in Nifty Thrifty Dentists, like, we like to save money, but we also want to spend our money on what really matters. And it has nothing to do with, hey, we want anything given to us. We're willing to work. So I feel like most of the people who listen to the podcast, they have that kind of mentality. But with that being said, even if you're ready to grind, sometimes it's really easy and sometimes
Yeah.
it's like a fight. But as long as you believe and grind through it, you'll get where you need to go. So share with me, just off the top of your head, man, two
Yeah. Well,
situations. We don't have to mention any names,
I
but just give us some backstory. Two situations where it was like, dude, this guy just killed it, or she just killed it. Another one was like, we had to tweak, we had to like pivot, but we got there. So share with two stories that come to your mind.
well, first I would love to just kind of mention, I don't do very many podcasts. This is all new to me. Matt does that. He
Yeah.
loves this stuff.
But I wanted the
And
brains. That's why
I
you're
know,
here.
and I love that. I appreciate that. I'm so excited to be here. What you said about not preparing me, yeah, I didn't know what to expect. So that is when Glenn says, I did not know any of these questions ahead of time. That is a true statement, which, makes it a good conversation too. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I actually want to, an example that came to me, this is a client that actually canceled with us.
Huh.
And I actually
Okay.
think this is kind of interesting. This is when this was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. This was a startup practice, Glenn, and they're in South Carolina. Okay. And this is no joke. We turned our system on and startup practice, brand new. Very first month, they did over $200,000 of production from us.
Oh, wait. And they're not with you guys?
No, this is why. This is what's so funny. Like as we
Were they
continue to
expecting $1
learn.
million or something, man? What?
No, oh no, man. So look at this. Second month, crushed it again. Third month, crushed it again. They came to us about 4 or 5 months into it, and they literally said, "I'm making too much money. It's too stressful. I just can't. I can't do this anymore." And in my mind, that was a awakening moment for me because as an entrepreneur, everybody has different ways of looking at things. If I was that practice owner, I would have said, man, this is amazing. I'm going to find a way to figure it out and hire more people. But I learned a valuable lesson that not everybody's goals are the same.
Mm.
And it's important to really understand just because I think a certain metric is really critical, it doesn't necessarily mean it would be for you or for somebody else. But you talk about skyrocketing. It was literally month one. I'll even tell you where it's at. I won't say the name. It was in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Okay.
And it was crazy. I mean, I've never, to go from 0 to 200,000 in a month is just amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you this too.
But you learned a lot right there. Again, you just said that you learned that everyone values something different. And again, not everyone just wants to kill it like that. And I'm sure now that you guys understand that, things are a lot better when it comes to just being in alignment with your clients.
Yeah, 100%. We definitely learned a lot from that. We also learned something else from it though, Glenn, is when we bring on a client, you know what they all say? Man, I just want tons of growth and tons of patience.
Yeah.
And so like oftentimes we'll talk to a client, they'll be like, I want to double my collections. And then I got to go back and say, okay, we can actually do that for you. But is your staff prepared to do double the work? And that is actually a lot of times what it comes down to. Is so one of the lessons that we're learning is when we ask some of these questions, I think sometimes the doctors don't quite really feel what the answers they're giving actually are going to, how it's going to feel to the practice and their staff. Mm-hmm. And so we try and dig now really deep in understanding, like, is your team prepared for growth? How much growth? How many ops do you have open and available? Help me understand your treatment coordinators and their skill level. Right. And so, that was a great learning experience. In hindsight, though, I mean, I still to this day, I'm like, man, you should just go hire an associate or something. Yeah. I don't know. Find the help.
Expand or something.
That's a home run. That's a home run. I'll tell you, we had another great, this doc was out in Tennessee. And this was probably about 6 months into working with us. And this doc is still with us. He's been with us for a good 4 or 5 years too. We get a text from him saying, hey, just want to let you know, I just closed on an apartment complex that I bought with the money I just made from Energize over the last 6 months.
Nice.
And that was really cool. Matt and I getting those texts. We've had so many doctors text us, hey, I've been able to pay off my loans much faster than I expected. That's a whole nother feeling in itself of just helping a doctor get out from underneath that debt sometimes, from buying the practice, their student loans and so forth. But man, they're honestly, Glenn, it's hard to pinpoint a couple.
Yeah. Well, you got a couple of good ones right there, right? You got a couple of good ones. That first one was a good one right there. I'd love to, you know, do you ever kind of reach out to them and say, hey, how's that everything going? Like, do you ever, I mean, are they still killing it out there? Or like, I mean, are they thinking about doing, because again, I mean, if they're thinking about opening a second location, they definitely need to bring you back on. But like, do you guys still keep up with them?
You know, are you talking about the client that canceled?
Yeah, the one that was just like, you're making me too much money. I can't take it anymore.
No, I haven't, to be honest. I moved on. I don't mean this. Our company doubles in size every single year.
Yeah.
And so we're always looking for people who want to work with us.
Sure.
If it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. And I probably should actually reach out to them. That's a great,
just for our viewers, just for our listeners and viewers to know what happened, you know. So like when you find out, let me know so I can do that an update, kind of like an update later on. I'm always curious about that. But you know, let me ask you this. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let me ask you this. So there's so many people, and again, I'm a Nifty Thrifty Dentist, right? So everyone wants a good deal. I get it, right? And I try to give them a good deal, you know. But really, our group's all about spending money on what truly matters. There's so much you can spend your money on. But the goal of being Nifty Thrifty is spending money what truly matters. And what truly matters is, well, you need to get the patients in. You need to be able to convert those patients and take care of those patients. Give like all that stuff is what truly matters. But sometimes we'll have people who say, you know what? Heck, man, I watched some YouTube videos and you know, I did like a little course, like, you know, I bought Alex Hormozi's book. I flipped through it. I read Alex Hormozi's book and, you know, I watched, you know, I got Russell Brunson's book and I watched all these videos. I mean, I feel like I can figure this out. For the doctor that says, hey, I can just try to do it myself, what do you say to that person?
I mean, the honest answer, just to be blunt, I'm like, that sounds terrible and dumb. I mean, it's like, it's not because marketing is dumb and it's not because the doctor is actually dumb. Think about it. Like you guys go through such specialized training for such a specific thing and you want to go get into the weeds of this. There's so many more things where he or she could focus on his practice with the skill that they have.
Yeah.
That would actually make them so much more money. I always, you know, we've helped thousands of clients, you know, across the country, and you dentists are so smart and intelligent, and sometimes that can get in your way because it's like, oh, I can go do this better.
Yeah.
And it's like with that intelligence, go focus on that training that you have that you're so good at already.
Or just doing the work.
Just doing the work. Yeah. Well, doing the dental work and then also just leading your team, right? Yeah. So if you own your practice, for me, when you own your practice, you're actually a dentist second. The first role is an entrepreneur at that point. You know, and so that in itself, think about like the headaches that comes with owning a business. Think about the time and the skill that goes into leading your team down a successful path. Creating that vision of, hey, you know, office staff, this is where I'm taking my practice. I want all of you who see that vision and want to be here, I want you guys to join me on this path to get there. That takes energy and talent. And if you're wasting your energy on running Google ads yourself or Facebook ads, it's just taken away of really what you're good at and what you need.
What truly matters. Yeah, what truly matters. It's kind of like this. I tell, and I talk to a lot of doctors all the time, and they'll message me, and I get like at least 20 message requests every morning about something about their practice, right? Which I go through and I make sure I answer all of them. And the biggest thing is, oh, I don't want to deal with staff. I don't want to deal with this. And I tell these practice owners that when you sign your name on the lease, when you sign your name on those loans, those practice loans, then you inherit everything, good and bad, that comes along with being a dental practice owner. It's kind of like being a parent, right? Like I handle all my kids like sporting activities, athletic activities. But do I have to also worry about the academics too? Do I also have to worry about them just being good people? I mean, that's when you become a parent, you sign up for all those things. And it blows my mind sometimes that doctors feel like, they can just abdicate. They're like, okay, I have my office manager do that. What are you going to do when the office manager goes? Right. So I have a challenge. I have a challenge not only to Ryan and Energize team, and I have a challenge to the doctors out there who feel that they can just do this themselves, that they can do the marketing, your websites, your Google ads, Facebook ads, anything, right? Marketing related. Like this is for you guys, okay? I have a challenge. That challenge is to talk to Ryan or one of his team members, and they will prove to you that by you doing all those tasks, you are wasting your time. In fact, I know how Matt does things on this discovery calls, and Ryan, I'm pretty sure the same thing. You guys are looking for the opportunities in practice. So I challenge you guys to prove to these doctors who are like the do-it-yourself guys that what they're doing based on their numbers and their metrics, so you guys are really big on metrics, that they are wasting their time, and that any money or whatever money they're investing with you guys will be a better ROI than what they're doing. Can you accept that challenge?
Yeah, I'd love to.
There
Yep,
you
let's
go.
do it.
There you go. So
Absolutely
again,
love that
this is for
challenge.
you guys, right? Who want to do it yourself. And that's cool. I love saving a couple of bucks, right? But if Ryan can show you that by you just, I don't know, maybe spending a little bit more time in the op instead of like in front of a computer, you would make more money, and that using them and you're going to make more money, it sounds like a win-win to me. So again, hey, free challenge, jump on a call with these guys. Ryan, you're not going to charge them anything to talk to them, right?
No, man.
Okay, there you go. There's
Yeah.
Come on,
Completely
guys.
free. We'll
He's
love the
accepting the
challenge.
challenge. He's not going to even charge you for it. And if you end up making more money, or it makes more sense you do the marketing, then heck, at the worst comes to worst, they'll probably hire you if you're that good. Okay, if you're that good. Is that challenge accepted there, Ryan?
Challenge accepted.
I
Bring it
love
on.
it. I love it. All right. I love it. So I want to put that out there because, again, so many times, even I know that, yes, you can have all these great things about your dental practice. You might be doing good. And this is my next question I want to bring to you, because this is valid. People bring this up. Well, maybe someone out there is watching this, and maybe their practice is not killing it like that one practice you were working with in South Carolina, right? But we'll address them. So let's put them to the side. But let's talk about someone like, man, I'm killing it. And I don't have to do any marketing. Man, I'm just like killing it. I don't have to do any marketing. What do you say to that person who says like, hey, I'm just blessed and I'm just killing it and I don't do any marketing? Why should they still do marketing, Ryan?
Well, to be honest, Glenn, under the scenario you just painted, I might even tell them not to do marketing.
Okay.
Look, we're not here to make money by telling everybody they need something that they might not. And to be fair, there is a lot of really great practices that are established, and kind of going back to, well, what's the actual goal of the client, right? So, like, for example, in your practice, if you're hitting the financials you need, okay, and you have an incredible life, you don't need to grow from a financial standpoint anymore, then why take on more headaches if you don't really need it? Okay. And in that case, I would say, well, maybe you don't need it, or whatever you're doing is currently working, so just stay with it.
I love that.
There's a couple other questions I would ask, though. Let's say somebody who is killing it. One of the questions I'm going to ask is, Okay, you're doing really well though. What's the end goal for your practice? Most of the time, the end goal at this point is to sell to a DSO, some private equity, have some type of big exit,
Yeah.
right? So if that's the case and you're doing really well, the next question is, okay, well, if we are trying to get that exit though, have we talked to anybody to know where we need to get it to actually have the type of exit we need? And that is potentially where we have that conversation about marketing to say, well, you're happy where you are now, but honestly, where you need to get to though over the next, say, 3 to 5 years needs to be here. Then there might be a need for us to come in and say, okay, let us help you get there. Let's, open up some more time on your calendar. Let's put some more patience in your chair. So I think that's where I would go with that. Like, let's add a little bit, dive a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
You're happy now, but can it be a little bit better? The other questions you can ask: are you planning on? Man, I was out fly fishing just last week with a dentist, and this was actually an incredible story. Him and his brother own this practice that their dad started almost like 40 years ago.
Wow.
And that practice is crushing it, right? But they keep passing it down. And now this doctor actually has a daughter who's trying to finish up dental school that's eventually going to take over as well. And so some other questions, if you're doing really well, maybe you don't want to sell. Maybe that's not the goal, but are you trying to pass it on to somebody else? And if so, is there a need there for us to grow and pivot from a marketing strategy for whatever comes next as well? I don't know until we have those intimate conversations with that client. But those are some things that I would consider.
Well, I mean, and I'm glad that you got the chance to answer this question. That's the reason why I put it out there, is because here's the thing, guys. Whenever you're thinking about working with any company, whether it's a marketing company, a coach, a consultant, heck, buying supplies and equipment from somebody, um, when they say, "Oh, you always need something," that's probably a red flag. But when they
Yeah.
say, "Hey, I just want to do whatever makes sense for you," and it's an alignment, that's a green flag right there. And again, I mean, again, Ryan just showed it right there. And that also goes back to what we started with, right? Like, this company was founded by two guys who had a connection, who had were interested in each other's, goals and wanting to build something that served other people. When your company is kind of like founded on relationships, doesn't it make sense that they're going to want to know what you want to do and get on that level of a relationship to figure out what you want to do? So I love that. I love that answer. And again, you might be someone who is doing really well, and you're just happy staying there, and no, there's nothing wrong with it. But you only know what you know, right? So I love you talk about how, okay, you're gonna sell the DSO. Or another question could be, well, you're working with, or you have your daughter possibly coming in, right? And it could be, have you thought about maybe another location? Have you thought
Mm-hmm.
about like making this a legacy project for your family, and other family members that join the profession, there's a place for them to go too. So I know you guys do a podcast with a friend of mine who has multiple practices, so you guys are familiar with that. Before we pivot, though, I do want to ask you, one thing before we pivot over to my Entrepreneur 3 question, and that is, um, you guys have so many different services that you offer. All anything
Mm-hmm.
related to marketing, but also some consulting as well. What do you see in the future as other services that you might possibly add? Or do you guys feel like you're very comfortable with what you have right now for your clients?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Every year we have added additional
Yeah.
services as we find the need and the importance of it in this space.
Well, your
We
clients are
continue to
asking
add to
for
it.
it. That's what
Yep.
Matt tells me. Like, you guys aren't trying to do a bunch of stuff, but your client was like, "Can you help me with this?" And the fact that you guys want to help your clients, it's up there. So is there something that's on there? I mean, obviously I know you guys are there, but is there something that's around on the horizon that you can kind of share with me so I can brag that you guys mentioned it here first?
Yeah. Okay. That's a great question. Is there any secrets I want to share right now? Okay. Perfect. Um, well, I'll tell you. Energize. there's two sides to the revenue coin. Energize on one side is how do we put some patience in your chair, and how do we generate that revenue? The other side of the office is how do we actually collect on that revenue?
Yeah.
Okay. You really need a strategy for both, right? How does the practice manage their patient and insurance portion of the AR? How do they collect? One of the things that we're working on right now, is a platform, and we have a few dozen clients on it already. It's not something we're really public about because we're trying to perfect everything that we do. But we do have services now where we can actually go collect and work with clients on collecting the patient AR, those outstanding balances, along with also the insurance billing. And there's a lot of competitors out there. I get that. It's not something super sexy and crazy. But what we do know is how to provide great customer service at an inexpensive rate and just be incredibly thorough. And how to, in our mind, it's like, how do we take the stress and pressure of that off of them, just like we're trying to take the stress and pressure off the marketing. And it's having a really big impact on those clients that are kind of going through that first phase with us. And it's been incredible. I think over the next 5 years, that very well could be way bigger than Energize as it continues to grow.
Yeah.
There's just a ton of opportunity there.
Well, it sounds like you might have to change like what Energize is viewed as. It's not so much a marketing company. It's a revenue generating, agency,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of a marketing company, a revenue generating company helps you generate revenue, make money, right? So you guys might have to change it up a little bit.
Internally, that's how we view ourselves at this point. And then we got, like you mentioned, consulting. It's not something, all the consulting we do is free. We don't charge for it. So we like coming into our client's practice and saying, hey, because we can see what's going on behind the scenes through DI, through their PMS, through our marketing. And with all that data, literally have worked with so many clients around the country. We now have a lot of people on the team that can come and say, hey, if we change this little thing here, it can have an impact. And we don't charge for that. We view it this way. The more we can help our client make money, the more they're going to love us.
Yeah.
And that's how we make money.
I love it, man.
That's how we view it.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to pivot to something I like to do with all my guests. I can't have a savvy entrepreneur like yourself on this show without me picking your brain about that. So it's called the Entrepreneur 3. There's going to be 3 questions I'm going to ask. The first question is share a productivity tip or tool that you use that keeps you productive and efficient that could help one of our listeners and viewers out.
Yeah, that's such a great question. I've tried a lot of things, and I've taken a lot of my advice from other entrepreneurs. So It's a great question I've asked myself a lot. And I'm going to kind of talk more as just the CEO of this company for my broad role, not necessarily as a marketer. Okay. So we have 80 full-time employees spread out throughout all the country. And we have different personalities, different skill sets. They're at the end of the day, all these decisions at some point bubble up to me as the CEO of what strategy we want to implement, how we want to go about building this thing. And I am probably, I kind of joke with my wife, I have to make so many decisions every single day. Like when I come home, I'm just like, I don't want to make any more decisions. Like it's like my brain is fried. And one thing that's been really helpful for me though is with that, there's always so much to do and there's so many projects. If I like to go make a list of 10 to 15 projects that I have, okay? And these are really important projects. These are things we got to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to, out of that 10 to 15, I'm going to go highlight 3 of them. And that's all I'm going to spend my time on until I get those 3 things done. So this is really important. I found I don't want to pick 3. I want to go make a list of 10 to 15. And then from that, I'm sitting there analyzing, well, every single one of these things are really critical, but I can't get to all of them. And I got to understand that I can't get to all of them. And so out of those 10 to 15, what are the top 3? And I just want to add one more thing, if you don't mind, Glenn, to this.
Yeah.
And I think the practice owners listening, I want you to think of as yourself as an entrepreneur in this context, not a dentist. When I'm making a decision, I'm thinking as the CEO of 2 things. How does this impact my top line revenue? So if I'm going to go spend a whole bunch of time on some project, I want to understand, how does this increase my top line revenue? So for the dentist out there, how does this project increase my production / collections, right? And the second thing I'm going to piggyback, I'm going to ask is, how does this project increase my bottom line revenue, which is also just known as, net income, my profit, my EBITDA. Okay. And I want to really, really understand, if I go spend X amount of dollars, X amount of hours, 3 months on this project, if I can't clearly define how it's going to grow my revenue and cut my expenses, I just don't even put it on that list of 10 to 15. Just get rid of it.
Oh,
if you can't articulate how it's going to actually impact you financially in a positive way, right? Hopefully, it's just a waste of your time.
It's like the 80-20 rule. I literally posted about this in the Nifty group, right? And I just tell people, look, I mean, most of the time you want 80% of your results to come from 20% of your effort, right? But unfortunately, as dental practice owners, sometimes it's inversed, right? And that is, sometimes you're dealing with a headache of that takes up 80% of your time. You're only getting 20% of the benefit. And I correlated that with certain patients. Certain patients they give you 80% of the grief, and you're getting 20% of the benefit, right? If that's the case, you need to introduce that patient to a new provider, right? And again, it's just literally what you just laid out there is something we should all understand, because we all have that. Or we have we're working on, I don't know, maybe you're working on freaking Google ads and you're spending all your time on it and you're about to yank your hair out, right? And you're not getting out of it because you're not a trained marketer and you're terrible at it. And that's why we have this challenge with them reaching out to you, Ryan and Matt. So I love that. Okay, so the next one, again, I'm going to keep hammering down. Give me a book or a resource, because I know not a lot of people read books. If you don't read books, at least listen to it. I highly recommend that. But give me a book or a resource that's helped you out a lot as an entrepreneur that you would highly recommend to any of our viewers and listeners.
So there's, I do like reading. I do love podcasts. I love listening to podcasts and learning as well, like a lot of people do. I'll tell you, there's a really simple book that I started to read in college, and I still read it every few years. Really well known. It's just called The Richest Man in Babylon. Have you ever read this book, Glenn?
I haven't read it. I've heard about it, and literally I finished my latest book listening to an audiobook, so I need a new one. So I'm definitely going to get that today. I have 2 credits on Audible I need to use, so I'm definitely going to put that in the queue soon.
So The Richest Man in Babylon, it's an incredibly simple read, and it's a small read too. You can get through it relatively quickly. But I remember when I was young, I did not grow up. I did not come from money. I did not come from an upper middle class. My parents work incredibly hard. Good parents, like a lot of people, right? And this isn't I'm not in any way unique. That's how most people grow up. And I just remember thinking, as a young man, and then as kind of a college age, I got to look at money different. I just got to look at things different. I didn't have parents to teach me that. And in some ways that ended up being a great blessing, because it motivated me to say, I got to go learn from something. And, I don't like having to deal with this, so I'm going to go learn and pivot. And this book starts to teach principles of just investing. Okay. And it's not a book that's going to tell you what to invest in, but it's kind of this story of helping you understand, like, we get one life, Glenn, and we can make what we want out of it. I solely believe that, especially in this country. I think so much opportunity out there that I'm incredibly grateful for. And I love this book because it's teaching me the principle of I got X amount of resources, I got X amount of time. What am I going to do with that? And how am I going to go invest both my time and money into things that will literally return a reward for us? Okay. And it teaches these principles in like a make-believe storyline. So it's really cool. But yeah, I would recommend it. Nothing to do with dentistry. It's not a complicated read. But it's had an impact on me just to change my mindset.
Yeah, but for a dental practice owner, I mean, it is a important message, right? For sure. Absolutely. I love that. All right. So I got a hard one for you. And this is always hard for everybody. And sometimes it's definitely hard for me because I've made so many mistakes in my life that if you ask me to pinpoint one that I learned a lot from, I could tell you, like, I got like 20 I could share with you. But we're only going to ask you for one because I can't keep you on here all day. So share one mistake that you made that you learned something significant from that others can learn from.
One mistake. Okay.
That you learned something significant from that we can all learn from.
Well, like yourself, I've made tons of them, like all of us. Trying to narrow it down to one is tough. I think, in relation, I'll make this in relation to my family.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is the fourth company I've built. And I'm incredibly close to my wife and my 3 kids. I feel incredibly blessed. There are times that I have allowed work to stress me out so much that when I walk out and I come home, that stress and anxiety is still on me when I honestly go to give my kids a hug. And honestly, that's not something that I've even perfected. I still work on that. But I think one of the mistakes that I have learned and I'm continuing to learn from is how do I, when I clock out for the day, how do I actually mentally clock out?
Yeah.
That is really tough for entrepreneurs.
For dentists too.
Our anxiety, we're always thinking of the day. For a new practice owner, what are we also thinking? I got bills to pay. I got payroll. I got this. And so some things that have helped me, and this is where I've learned from it. I've actually learned a lot of my anxiety comes from me actually not taking care of myself physically. Mm-hmm. So I'm not eating the best. I'm not exercising anymore. It just allows my mental health to just allow that stress and anxiety to build. And I've always, just like Matt, I know Matt's, as you guys know, has had some health issues over the past few years, but Matt and I both have always been athletes and very physical. And it's so easy when we get stuck in this, how do I grow this business, to really let go of the fact that, man, I need to eat right. I need to exercise. I need to be fit, because that impacts how we handle those things. And the tough thing is my kids are 13, 11, and 9. And dude, they grow. I mean, they just grow so quick. Any of you out there with kids, it's like you blink and it's gone. And I'll say this, I'll end with this. I'm thankful to have learned that when my kids are still young enough to where we can still go do tons of stuff and spend quality time. So my real ask and hope for all of us is, let's kind of learn that about how important family is prior to, we spend so long, our kids are now grown and we miss that opportunity. Yeah. So that's something I'm still learning, but I think it's an important thing.
That's a huge one. That's all of us, man. That's all of us. And yes, I mean, my kids are very close to the same age as your kids. And the one thing that one of my mentors always told me is that he said, try to remember all the memories you had as a kid. And at what age was that? Do you remember? And I was like, it's kind of like when I was like in elementary school and middle school. That's what I remember the most with my parents. Not so much in high school because I was kind of doing my own thing, a little bit in college, but mainly in like elementary school, middle school. Like we think about, like I still remember all the times when my dad forgot to pick me up because he was busy doing something, right? I'm like, Dad, I waited there for like an hour. Where were you? And so even to this day, I'm always on time picking up my kids, but yeah, I mean, we have to remember like what are all our memories, and because at the end of the day, I mean, life is really short, and we want to keep as many good memories, right? When we leave, that's the best gift we can leave for your kids, right? That's the best gift I got from my parents. It's not like the $20 here and there that my mom and dad gave me. I don't really think about that. I think about like all the cross country trips we took in the summer, right? I remember all the times where like I told them, hey, you don't have to come to this award ceremony, but secretly inside, I was hoping they would be there, right? So, so that is such good advice there, Ryan. And again, for those practice owners who are grinding, it's good to grind, but man, you gotta remember what you're grinding for. Okay, so with that being said, look, we have a challenge that we already put out there, but if you guys are looking to grow your practice, and you feel like there's more that you can do, or maybe you feel like you're kind of underachieving a little bit and you need more patience, or you need someone to talk to when it comes to marketing, you should talk to Ryan, you should talk to Matt, you should talk to the whole team. The whole team's awesome. So for our viewers, listeners who want to connect with you guys, what's the best way to do it?
So, really two ways. You can go to our website. It's energize-group.com. There you can call our number. You can book an appointment. If you book an appointment through there, you're going to end up getting our director of sales. His name's Riley. Riley's incredible. Honestly, he's just a phenomenal guy, phenomenal person. Also, I'm happy for your group. I'll give you guys my cell phone number too. It's 910-619-5397. Shoot me a text. That's my personal cell phone, guys. You can certainly call me, but I might be on a meeting. So if you want to shoot me a text, make sure you just say your name, where you heard me, so I understand who I'm texting. But yeah, we'd be happy to jump on a call personally with any of them. And then, depending on what their needs are, love to help them if we can. I'll tell you, for your group, guys, for the Nifty Thrifty group too, we do have a promotion that we would be happy to do for you guys. For Google ads, if you want to run Google ads, we will run these for you guys for free for 90 days.
Ooh.
Okay. We will cover the service fees. You're going to have to cover the ad spend though. I'm not paying Google for you. But we would do the labor and the work for free for 90 days. And we do that, Glenn. We just feel that confident in our ability to show you guys some great things, which is why we're willing to do that. So anyway, I think it's a great offer. If you guys are thinking about how do I grow, it's worth a conversation with me and my team. There's a lot of, there's just so many different marketing avenues we can go down. Google might not be right. Maybe it's Meta, maybe it's website, maybe it's SEO. It just really depends on what you guys need. And, but we can have those conversations and we can get into the details.
I love it. And guys, you only know what you know, right? So again, if you're killing it and you think you're doing good, still worth the conversation, because maybe there's something that you weren't thinking about. Maybe there's a bigger goal that you could get to, that bigger than what you have right now. And if you need some help, I mean, again, you can keep on doing the same thing, or you can talk to someone, see, hear a different perspective, see a different strategy. Who knows? The worst that can come out of it is that you spend some time talking to Ryan, and maybe he talked about his kids a little bit or something. You got to know somebody, right? You talk to Matt, you learn about his story. That's the worst thing that come out of it, and I think that's a great thing. So, Ryan, I'm actually honored to be one of the first guys to have you on a podcast. So I told Matt, I was like, hey, look, man, I love you, man. I mean, we talk a lot, and you've been on some stuff, but I need Ryan in here. So, guys, behind the curtain, here he is. It is Ryan with Energize. Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Hey, thank you, Glenn. It's been awesome, man.
All right, guys, we'll see you guys next time.